Good afternoon, I'm Vashon Brown with the Midday News. Special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. I remind as well that you can watch TVJ live by downloading our One Spot Media app in the Google Play Store or the App Store. That's the number 1, followed by the words Spot Media. The Westwood High School in Stewarttown, Trelawney, is closed today following a major fire at the institution last night. Firefighters from Falmouth, Brownstown and St. Anne's Bay battled to put out the blaze last night, which was brought under control early this morning. There were no reports of injuries. Reports indicate that the fire started at 10:15 in the kitchen and spread to the dining room and a storeroom, which were all destroyed. The matron's quarters and a changing room were also destroyed by the blaze. Boarding facilities at the all-girls school were not threatened by the fire. However, students were relocated to another section of the compound. Meanwhile, principal for the institution, Karen Francis, says arrangements are being made to facilitate students who will sit the Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate CSEC exams next week. She says the first written exam will be on Monday. She adds that the girls from grade 11 to 13 will return to the school on Sunday.
We will house them in their dormitory, but we probably have to do meals at the hostel here for them. We will not be able to facilitate all the students just now, and the board will meet and short-term plans will be put in place for the rest of the school. We would have advised the ministry already as to what happened, and we will also take advice from them as to where to go.
What's the student population?
We have 776 students presently.
Including 13th grade?
Yes.
A man is dead and his 7-year-old son in hospital this afternoon following an attack at their house in Osborne-Store, Clarendon early this morning. The father has been identified as 30-year-old Bishon Warrior, an employee of the Clarendon branch of the National Irrigation Commission. It's reported that shortly before 1 o'clock this morning, Mr. Warrior and his son were asleep when the house was sprayed with bullets. The gunmen then kicked the door open and fired shots at Mr. Warrior. His son was also shot. His brother gave an account of what took place moments after the incident.
With a heap of pool of blood, and my little nephew sit down beside him. And I have to take him up and rush outside and tell him, I look vehicle to bring him away. Same time I saw the police coming, and I stop them and tell them what is it. And them say, come, I bring him up. And I bring him up, by we get stretcher, to bring him in gap and die.
He says family members are in shock. The Manchester police are investigating the bizarre shooting death of a woman in New Green this morning. The dead woman has been identified as Kenisha Mackenzie Gale, an employee of Tax Administration Jamaica, Mandeville office. It's reported that Miss Gale was at home when she was handing a licensed firearm to her common-law husband when it discharged a bullet and hit her under the armpit. She was rushed to the Mandeville hospital where she was pronounced dead. In St. Mary, 1 man is dead and another in hospital following a machete attack in Stewarttown last night. The dead man has been identified as 23-year-old Javane Sims, a construction worker from Mango Valley. It's reported that about 7:20, both men, who are cousins, were at their aunt's house having a meal. After they left, their aunt, Yvonne MacDonald, was informed that a man was laying on the ground across the road. Upon investigating, she realized that it was one of her nephews with a chop wound to his neck.
My nephew came in and said to me, said, you see Nick run gone down the road with him and blood up. So I said, which Nick? And he said, fluid cousin. I said, what happened to him? So I run go outside, now I go now. I said, one next man over there, so dead. And I said, whatever chin that I go over there, and my nephew see where chin, in name. And when I look at him, he said, they chop him up and I don't know who killed him, I don't know what problem they in, with when they in, and a problem with anybody or anything, I don't know.
So you think that they were attacked by someone?
Yes. Because one man said, this is my just a chop, and them a run physically, they said, but they don't know who.
It's understood that the other cousin was also attacked but managed to escape into a passing motor car. There are more calls from administrators of the Noel Holmes Hospital in Hanover for resources to make the facility more efficient. The Type C hospital has seen greater demands on its services over the past year, and workers are now highlighting some of the areas they believe need urgent attention. Here is TVJ's Herman Green.
Despite being a Type C healthcare facility, the Noel Holmes Hospital sees more than its share of patients, ranging from accident and emergencies, pediatrics to mental health issues on a daily basis. Hospital Director of Nursing Services, Gillian Mason-Quarry, says the resource challenge is crippling as even the general population growth of the parish overwhelms what they now have.
In our A&E department, our accident and emergency department, we have 3 trauma beds. We have 9 observation beds. We have 6 pediatric beds. We have an asthma bay that can accommodate up to 5 patients at a time.
She says the maternity suite has only 2 delivery beds, and the accommodating capacity of the general medical ward is also a concern. Then there are the social cases.
Our social cases where patients are abandoned and they take up some of the bed space that we could have available for other patients who are really sick and in need of admission.
Infrastructural limitation is only one aspect of the challenge. Medical Health Officer for Hanover, Dr. Kaushal Singh, notes that in addition to more physical injuries, relatives and communities are impacted psychologically, which translates to a need for more medical professionals in all departments.
So it means that you need a more mental health officer, more mental health professionals to deal with this. You need more EMT, emergency medicine technicians, to deal with this, to carry these victims to proper care. You need more accident and emergency doctors, trained doctors who can deal with these things.
In response to the recent air quality crisis at the Cornwall Regional Hospital in St. James, equipment and medical personnel were transferred to the Noel Homes and other health facilities in neighboring parishes. However, Dr. Singh says it's just not enough, especially for mental health care.
Yes, I can clearly say for mental health professionals, we need more mental health professionals in community. We are in shortage. That we have community mental health officers right now, 3, but we need more.
Herman Green, TVJ News.
Students and staff at Charlemont High School in Linstead, St. Catherine were locked out of the institution this morning. Students and staff say when they arrived, the main gate to the school was closed and the padlock changed. Councillor for the Treadways Division, Sydney Rose, says the situation is believed to have stemmed from an ongoing wage dispute involving ancillary workers and the Ministry of Education. The police and fire brigade have been called to render assistance. Students at the Clancarthy High School on Deanery Road in Kingston were affected this morning after teachers decided to stage a protest at the school gate. Now, the group of social studies teachers claim they have been victims of robberies committed by students. They say the latest incident was yesterday when the social studies department was broken into and over $20,000 stolen from the bags of 6 teachers. The teachers are meeting with the acting principal. As the government considers plans to tackle the increase in cybercrimes, a computer specialist is calling for persons to back up their data to protect themselves from ransomware. We have more in this report.
Ransomware, not new to members of the technology industry, but cases have increased in recent times. It's where hackers take data stored on an electronic device and demand cash before giving the owner access to the information. Here in Jamaica, information for over 16,000 students being stored on a database overseas was recently stolen by hackers who are demanding money for the release of the data. This data cannot be retrieved as it was not backed up. The president of the Jamaica Computer Society, Sheldon Powell, says it's a national issue and he's concerned.
People are not backing up their critical information. They're not treating it as critical information, right? And if we're not careful, the hackers will have a field day in Jamaica.
Mr. Powell says though ransomware has affected education, the health sector is also crucial.
If you break into a hospital and you can encrypt the patient records, and imagine a patient is going to do a critical surgery, you need to get that information to do the surgery as soon as possible, so that you'll be willing to pay the money.
He argues that though ransomware might be difficult to stop, individuals have an important role to play in ensuring data that has been hacked can be retrieved.
Back up your critical data, right? You're hearing this message right now? After this, please go and back up your critical data. I mean, there are programs that you can set up to automatically back up your data. That is critical. I think there must be a way in which we can share the information as well when we're being targeted, because if you're being targeted, more than likely they're targeting other people at the same time.
Simone Golden reporting for TVJ News.
News now in sports. It could be another tough night for Jamaica's Gregory Killer Miller when he faces Canada's #1 seed Franco Cotroni in Wednesday's 5th preliminary fight of the Rare Nephew Contender Series for the junior middleweight title at the Chinese Benevolent Association headquarters.
Gregory Miller made his professional debut in the Contender Series in 2015, where he lost to Derek Richmond of Guyana. He could be in for another night of boxing lesson from the 32-year-old Frank Cotroni, who has 20 fights in his 12-year career, winning 11 with 4 coming by way of TKO to go along with 8 losses and a draw. The Jamaican is already facing some hurdles after he tipped the scale at 159 pounds on Tuesday, 5 more than the allotted weight limit. Miller became the second Jamaican that has been forced to shed weight in this year's series, and after 40 minutes of jogging, he eventually tipped the scale at 154 pounds, the same as Cotroni. Miller says he's more prepared for this fight than he was in 2015.
Because I train hard and I'm working for this for over 2 years now, so I'm not worried.
That's the Midday News. I'm Vashan Brown. Don't forget to join us at 7 for Primetime News Package. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, have a good afternoon.